Is your ankle mobility holding you back from getting deeper in your squat? Here's one test you can try to figure it out and a couple tips to work on it. All right, here's my favorite at-home test for checking your own ankle dorsiflexion to see if you have enough mobility to get as deep as you want in squats, lunges, and everyday movements that you want to do. So you're gonna take the width of your hand, you're gonna place it flat on the ground, up against the wall, and you're gonna slide your foot up against your hand. So that's gonna be your marker. The width of your hand is the distance that you are from the wall, and your goal is to try and glide your knee forward and touch the wall without your heel coming up off the ground. So if you can get all the way to the wall, but you bring your heel up, right, you're cheating. If you keep your heel down, but you can only get right here, right, you're a couple inches away, you gotta work on a little bit of ankle dorsiflexion. Here's a tip for you. If when you're doing this, you feel more of like a pinching, jamming, pressure sensation in the front of the ankle, it's probably more of an ankle joint problem where we just don't have enough room for that ankle joint. So you need to work on opening up that ankle joint with some repeated movements. If you feel more of a tightness, a stretching in the calf on the backside here, right, it's probably more of a calf Achilles complex, and we need to work on more traditional calf stretching. So that's tip number one. All right, here's my second pro tip for you. There's other things that can limit ankle dorsiflexion, and the two big ones that I look at a lot are how does your lower leg bone, your tibia, rotate? So we should have the tibia being able to rotate. And really, as we go down into that squat, lunge, as we're going through our running gait cycle, is we need a lot of internal rotation, right? My shin bone has to be able to turn inward. The other thing to look at is the foot, and do we have the ability to pronate, which is what's also gonna drive that internal rotation as we come down. And then as we come out of that, obviously, we need to be able to supinate. And so those two motions, internal, external rotation here of the tibia and supination, pronation, are really big. How can you test those? So one easy way is from a seated position here, is just lightly place the hands on the knees. You don't have to restrict too much, but try not to cheat and move through the hips a lot. I want you to go into ankle dorsiflexion, so lift your toes up off the ground so you're just on your heels, and then to check external rotation, you're gonna twist your feet out, right? And then to check internal, you're gonna twist your feet inward. We should have about 20 degrees of external rotation and 20 degrees of internal rotation, okay? If you struggle with that, right, we might need to work on a little bit of that tibial movement or that lower leg bone and its ability to rotate. The other big thing to look at is pronation and supination. So pronation is when the foot, essentially the foot collapses inward a little bit more, right? It turns in. And supination is when it turns outward. So what we want to do is basically try and lift the inside of your foot up off the ground to check supination and lift the outside of your foot up off the ground to check pronation. Now a lot of people do struggle with this as well. So what we'll see is a lot of hip movement. So this is where, for both of these tests, a block, like a foam roller, a yoga block can come in great. Squeeze it between the knees. It's gonna make it so you really can't cheat and get all that movement. So now you can go into your windshield wipers for the ankles, checking external, internal, and you can go into your supination, pronation here for the feet and see how you move with a little bit less of that kind of cheating and accessory motion going on. So that is pro tip number two. If you need to work on your ankle dorsiflexion, start with ankle dorsiflexion, but it's great to check these things out as well and see if there's some other things that might be contributing to that limited ankle dorsiflexion, especially if you're one of those people that feel like you've just been banging your head against the wall doing, ankle mobility drills forever, and you're wondering why am I not, getting more ankle mobility? Well, it might be that there's something else going on, like your tibia doesn't rotate, your foot doesn't pronate, and you need to work on that instead. So get after it, work on getting 1% better every day, and you're gonna get ass to grass in no time.